And it gets so damaged that it's traumatized. The consciousness is going like crazy trying to repair it and whatnot. And then it creates a resonance because of fear. It's so traumatized. This is just one instance that it can't remember anymore. It doesn't believe in the system. How can this be happening? And its defense to its fears to try to take control, anger, aggression. Suddenly the consciousness is played out between cells that, hey, no, you're part of us. No, I'm not. I don't trust you, any of you. Becomes immortal. It creates that gene. It starts to use more abilities than it should in relation to other cells. Starts to hurt them. And the consciousness grows in scalar relation from, and this starts at the atomic level, people, below. Next thing you know, it's tissue that it's focused on, rather than the cell. And tries to take over the tissue. It doesn't care about the tissue. That's why you have a lesion. It's a war. It's killing other cells. Otherwise you wouldn't have a lesion or an ulceration. And then the consciousness goes after other cells to try to make them cancerous, to grow in the body. And it would have to seduce the cell to leave the system it's already part of by traumatizing it, seducing it. Look what I can do. Look, I'll scare you. Look, I could kill you right now, but look, do you want what I can do? And the cell has no idea. The cancer just wants to take it over so it can make another scalar jump, so it can use it to see itself as I, and that is it. That's what cancer is. The body tries to attack it because it recognizes that it's a foreign resonance now. It just becomes an internal battle. But when you correlate what happens with cancer, and I have, of people that have spontaneously healed, or they call it spontaneous remission, they've all done different things. There are people that try procedures. I'll take 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, like Linus Pauling suggested. I'll take homeopathic remedies. I'll do yoga. I'll do this. I'll do that. And so there are very different people that have done these different procedures that have avoided chemotherapy and radiation treatment, which is just another war. And these people that have healed themselves from cancer all report having, it doesn't matter what their procedure was, they all report having this experience of infinity and understanding of the scalar reality. Whether they can say it in the same way I'm doing it doesn't matter, they know it. And they try to express it to people the best way they can. I just knew I was part of a whole loving system, a perfect system. And that, the whole body, attached to that. And that was used to convince the energy animating the cancer cells that, hey, you were part of me. I love you, man. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing to be scared of. I'm sorry this happened. It was nobody's fault. Come back. And finally what happened is that energy made that leap of faith within your body, came back to you, everything was fine, the cancer cells are shed, and when this spontaneous remission thing happens, it can happen in 24 to 48 hours. It's like snowballs melting on a stove. Tumors just go. No chemicals can do that, no medicine, no chemotherapy, no radiation treatment, no immune system. This is something different. And cancer is something different. It's separation. When the cancer recruits other cells, how does it do it? Ultimately, it uses all the tactics to scare it, intimidate it, seduce it, entice it. What ultimately happens when it becomes a cancer cell is what? Well, remember, each cell has its own consciousness, and part of that consciousness sees itself as I, and the other part is utilized by you to see yourself as I. Or the organ to see itself as I, that type of deal. Cancer disconnects it from that and plugs into it, so it still has its own individuality, but the other part of it is used by the cancer consciousness to see itself as I. It unplugs you from the cell, from you, and plugs into the cell to see itself as I, and that's what a tumor is. Now, Your cells obviously are connected to you in more ways than just consciousness. There are other dimensions, other realms. When it becomes overwhelmed by cancer, it forgets that until people have this scalar, this event of infinity of understanding. That's the connection to the Creator, the love. That which created everything. And your beacon of a problem is responded to by the Creator. Now here's the deal. Time is related to scale as well. Time for an atom is not the same amount of time for you. It's vibrating way too fast for you to perceive. So even time for, like, say, a fruit fly. Oh, it only lives 24 to 48 hours. What a short life. Well, not to it. If it's on a different frequency, a different scale of existence, that could seem like a much longer period to it. That's why man has trouble trying to swat a fly. Oh, that's because it has a neural strip on its abdomen, and so it just reflexes, it has a reflex to your movement, and displacement of air. No. You're moving really slow to that fly. And because your relationship of time relates to your perception of depth, if you're on, say, one side of a room that has a 15-foot distance between two walls, and you look at that, you perceive it in relation to your frequency of existence, your relation to time, and that's how you perceive depth. It will take me 2 seconds, 3 seconds to get to the other side. However, a fly looks 15 feet across the room, and its relationship to time, its relationship to depth is different. Even though it may arrive there faster than you, it does not seem that way to the fly. It sees it as a very long distance away compared to how you perceive it. Imagine being a giant that's 800 feet tall, standing on top of a mountain. Well, how far apart would those mountains really seem to you if you were that big? Much closer together than you would perceive it as your size, right? But say you were able to run to the other mountain, or somehow move yourself with wings faster than the giant could get there. Or observe the giant walking from mountain to mountain. As a human and seeing a giant that big, it may look really slow to you, but its perception of time is just normal. It's just right. So you would appear to be really fast to it. That's why larger things may appear to move slower, but from their relationship to time, they're not moving as slow as you perceive them to be. So even something like a cat will have a slightly, just a slightly different perception of time than you. You are slower to your cat than it is to you. That's why a cat is more able to quickly grab a fly out of the air. It's not that it perceives itself to be moving any faster than it would if it were your size. It's just moving just right, what it's able to do. The fly is moving slower to the cat than it is to you. Do you understand? And so what this creative love force, I'll call it God, okay? It's easier to just say God for now. That's not what it is, but I'm just going to call it God for simplicity. God immediately put into my mind that the whole idea of physics and chemistry and the periodic table is missing one element for quantitative. Not that it matters, and that is the element of time, which is just that. It's the scalar jump from atoms to molecules to tissues to everything is missing the element of time. Why am I telling you this? Well, so if you know that, then if you go through some sort of cancer in your body, and even if you have a spontaneous remission that took 48 hours, amazingly fast for the tumors to dissolve, from your cell's point of view, that was not 48 hours. That was a long, drawn-out process. And then when the spontaneous remission happened, it was just as instantaneous for the cells as it was for you, and that's the true nature of love and God, is that it's instantaneous. It will have a scalar effect all the way